What are you doing here? You are not one of our soldiers, and I don't take you for a mercenary. Whoever you are, this is no battle to involve yourself in. Whether you are guided by bravery or brashness, this is no place for you. I am Drummond, and the Lord has placed this fort in my hands. Whoever you are, I forgive your trespass, but leave this place immediately. Just mention my name, and no man will challenge your exit. And even if you don't, by now, my men have not the will to resist. Soon, the giants will descend upon this fort. It is revenge for the kingdom's misguided barbarism. The venerable Lord built this kingdom to bring prosperity to his subjects. What has transformed him so, I cannot imagine. Long ago, the king crossed the seas, pillaged the land of giants, and brought back a prize. It was then that the golems materialized. The giants are no ordinary barbarians. A singular rage burns within their hearts. My father and his father both fought the giants on this very land. The giants have wills of steel. They cannot find it within themselves to forgive the misdeeds of our Lord. Did you see him? That towering monster among them. That is most certainly their king. He will be a thing to topple. Even if I should die trying. My blade may break, my arrows fall wide, but my will shall never be broken. Those who live by the sword will die by it. And I, Drummond, won't go down without drawing mine.
The conversation we had with Captain Drummond really does give us some more info on the War of the Giants. I really like the way he describes the Giants' resolve, in that they were just incredibly determined to fight back against the forces of Drangleic and reclaim the prize that was stolen from them. But what I find perhaps probably the most interesting is that Drummond's dialogue actually does clue us into how long this war has been going on. he said that his father and his father's father have fought in this war of the giants. So that must mean this war has been at least happening for 100 years, maybe even more, and that is just staggering that a conflict like this could go on for so long. And this just shows how determined the giants were, and how vengeful they were, and how they felt that they had been wronged by the kingdom of Drang Lake and by King Vendrick, and they would stop at nothing to right that wrong. We do learn a little bit more about the character of Captain Drummond in his armor set, the Drang Lake set, which reads, "Traditional Drang Lake gauntlets belong to Captain Drummond. Drummond's ancestors have served Drang Lake for generations, principally as defenders of the great fort. But Captain Drummond is the last in his proud line." And this is true because Captain Drummond, as we can clearly see, did not survive the War of the Giants. But if we defeat a certain character back in these memories of the Giant Wars, and we talk to Drummond again, he will reward us with a helm. I didn't do it in the video here, but if you want to get the full Drang Lake armor set, that is how you get the helmet. You just have to talk to him after you defeat one of the bosses in the memories here. But who is this boss character in these memories? Well, it's someone who is integral to the giant forces, and it's someone who holds the key to what we desire.
again? What are you doing here? Who'd have thought we'd meet in a place like this? Fate just let us stay apart. See, the old sword's caught your attention. Well, you've a good eye then. That has been in my family for generations. They say it is crafted with moonlight, and we all know what that means. It wards off evil. And I would be trader for all the riches in the world. It's said that no man has ever teased out the sword's true power. But I see you've taken a look. Have you dead?
Ben Hart's good fun. I really like his character. He's just so jolly and joyful, and it's always fun to have a companion like that who's just kind of happy to assist you and is ready for another big adventure. Because a lot of characters in the Dark Souls series are kind of down on their luck and are a little bit depressed, so Ben Hart is refreshing in that regard. But this sword that Ben Hart is so fond of may not actually be what he claims it to be. The Blue Moon Greatsword reads, "The blade of this greatsword shines like the brilliant rays of the moon. In the oldest legends, rarely spoken of today, it is said that the sword was born of a great white being. Then what explains this lifeless weapon? Perhaps there has been some mistake." And this is because Ben Hart's greatsword is in fact not a true Moonlight greatsword. We talked to Magarold a little while ago, and he actually confirmed this in saying that he believes that this sword is fake. And it is in fact true, because to get the true Moonlight greatsword in Dark Souls 2, you have to be in New Game Plus and defeat the Duke's dear Freya once more, and that boss will drop the Pale Drake Soul, which is actually a remnant of the soul of Seath the Scaleless, and once you give this soul to Ornifex, she will be able to create a true Moonlight greatsword. So sorry to burst your bubble, Ben Hart, but that sword isn't quite as magical as you think it is. Sorry, buddy. My favorite thing about the Giant Lord boss fight is the realization that this is actually the same character we fought as our first boss fight of Dark Souls 2, and that is the last giant. So this is the Giant Lord in his prime, and the last giant was when he was all withered and broken but still had enough rage and resolve within him to fight us one more time because of how we brought him low in the past. So the time travel element surrounding the Giant Lord is really cool, and I like how we're actually the ones who defeated the Giant Lord in the past. I think that's a really neat touch. The Giant Lord's soul reads, "Soul of the Giant Lord, who once conquered Drangleic. Vendrick crossed the seas, took prisoner the giants, and brought them back to his castle, clapped in irons. However, after this modest triumph, his countenance could be seen to grow darker with each passing day. Now, I think this is peculiar because this is the first time that we learn that Vendrick not only claimed a prize from the giants, but also took some prisoner with him, and I believe this has something to do with the creation of the golems in Castle Drangleic. As for why Vendrick's mood grew darker, I think there is something else besides the giants that are responsible for that. But I do believe that the prize that the giants have is the giants' kinship. Each king has his rightful throne, and when he sits upon it, he sees what he chooses to see. Or perhaps it is the throne which shows the king only what he wants. The flames roar, but will soon begin to fade, and only a worthy heir might burnish their light. What is it truly a claimant of the throne could desire? That is a lot of heavy stuff to think about in that description there, because, especially in the world of Dark Souls, how your choices seem to be significant in some sense, but then again, maybe it's the world working against you and you're only being a puppet. Because in that's how the first game worked. In either ending, you were serving one character's own ends, not only your own. But this here once again signifies the cycle of fire and dark in the world of Dark Souls.